Are you too busy running your own business to worry about your financials? Allow J Hill Bookkeeping to focus on your books so you can focus on your core business. J Hill Bookkeeping's owner, operator and senior bookkeeper Judy Hill has always worked in finance administration. Based in Lara, the world of cloud accounting, however, means that clients can be based anywhere within Australia. Currently, J Hill Bookkeeping services clients from Lara, Geelong, the Bellarine Peninsula and Melbourne. You won't need to come home from working all day and start on paperwork. You can spend your time in other productive areas such as marketing or quoting, or even better, come home and switch off. Let J Hill Bookkeeping take the stress out of running a small business and allow you to enjoy watching your business go to the next level. For more information, visit our website at www.jhillbooks.com.au, or better yet, call us on 0402 469 243 or email us at info@jhillbooks.com.au. Good evening and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. What a beautiful day it has been today in G-Town. You're tuning into episode 55 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show, and it is going to be an absolute doozy. My name is Tonchi Prusak, and I'm one of your co-hosts, and joining me as he does every week here in the studios, plural, is none other than Steve Curtin himself. Steve, a very, very warm welcome to you, mate. It's been a big weekend of football, and my word, we are going to have an even bigger show tonight because I think there's going to be a few rants. I think there's going to be a few red cards issued out tonight. But how was your weekend, firstly?
Oh, good, mate. There's always something to rant about, and I think anyone who's tuned into our Facebook pages earlier before the show will have maybe a bit of an idea of what might be coming up. So get your popcorn out. It's must-see viewing. But no, on a serious note, mate, good weekend, a little bit of downtime yesterday was very welcome. And I always feel like we're always commenting on the weather on Mondays. Must be the best day of the week weather-wise because it's another splendid day to be just stuck working inside most of the day. Yeah. But no, nonetheless, no complaints here. So very good, mate. And how do we find you this evening?
Oh, pretty relaxed, so to speak. I think I've got to that stage where Mondays are just absolutely, well, put it this way, my day today, if I actually had to explain it to someone, they'd just, I think they would get absolutely dizzy just listening to me, but that was just me. But yeah, so much happening. Look, Firstly, a massive, massive shout out to tonight's episode sponsor, J Hill Bookkeeping, based in Lara, but as you heard the ad, because of cloud accounting these days, able to service account clients wherever you may be in the world, of course. And of course, Steve, we do go all around the world. We have occasionally people from overseas tuning in, different parts of the world. We also get people from all parts of Australia as well tuning in as well. So
that's right. This time last year, mate, big following in Belarus. So we can hark back to 12 months ago if you like. So
good. How can we forget? It was the only league, I think, in the world at the time that was operating, and there even was an Australian connection there.
Yep. So but mate, shout out to J Hill Bookkeeping. Thank you for your support.
Indeed. Judy Hill there. She's heavily involved with tonight's club, and hence she has nominated the club tonight. So if you're wondering, folks, why is my club being not mentioned, or why is my club not being involved? Well, that's simply because, maybe someone hasn't sponsored the club, or maybe your club itself hasn't got in touch with us and said, yeah, we'd love to be involved. Speaking of which, next week, we're going to let the cat out of the pigeon. It is going to be Surdeck Steel, who's our sponsor, and they've nominated Geelong Rangers. And Rangers, goodness me, they've got a lot happening at the moment. Lots happening with the Rangers. A little bit of side news with regards to the Rangers in our news desk. So if you are a Rangers fan, don't just switch off now and tune in next Monday, the special Easter Monday edition of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. The hangabout, because in the news desk, we've got some really interesting stuff happening that concerns your club. But Steve, I'll let you kindly step away and prepare yourself for the news, because that is coming up very, very shortly, folks. Don't go away. It's episode 55 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. This week, proudly brought to you by J Hill Bookkeeping.
All right, good evening, Monday, the 29th of March, 2021, and let's get into some of those results from the weekend in NPL 2 and NPL 3 from Saturday. And on Saturday, it was North Geelong Warriors who travelled to CB Smith Reserve to take on the fancied, or highly fancied, Moreland Zebras. And they came away with a point after a 0-0 draw. And the Warriors will next face an FFA Cup tie in Frankston against the Peninsula Strikers on Easter Saturday. Now, a Cameron Davies strike wasn't enough for Geelong Soccer Club on their road trip to Doveton, going down 3-1 against the Doves at Waratah Reserve. Geelong have an opportunity to bounce back as soon as this Thursday night with a home fixture against NPL 2 side Brunswick City. That match kicking off at Stead Park at 8 p.m.
Now we'll look very, very quickly at the ladders. And first of all, the NPL 2 ladder. So the North Geelong Warriors have commenced their season with 2 draws, and predictably they occupy a mid-table position there. Goulburn Valley Suns, good to see a regional club at the top there, Steve. Very rarely do we, as we start to move up the NPL 2 and NPL 1 division, do we rarely see a regional team, up at the top. Normally it's like Werribee City at the bottom, but as we can see on that ladder. But great to see the Goulburn Valley Suns, Shepparton, a real hotbed of football up there.
Yeah, Tonchin, I think they took 2 or 3 full bus loads of crew down from Shep to watch Alu Kual representing the Mariners against Melbourne City at Amy Park last week. And that was great to see as well. The Mariners couldn't salute with a win for Alu Kual in that game, but really good to see. The scenes after the game were fantastic. Like, that's such an effort to get everyone down there on a weeknight as well. Unbelievable. Very good stuff.
Absolutely. That was NPL 2, and that is now NPL 3 on the screen there. The NPL 3 ladder has, as we can see, Preston Lions, they recorded, I think it was a 10-0 win against the Springvale White Eagles. But our club there, Geelong, 1 win and 1 loss. So they are now occupying 8th position on the table with 3 points. Look, only 3 points behind their sister club, Preston. But, obviously a massive goal difference, a goal difference of about 11. But as you said, Steve, we'll go through the games this weekend. Only competition that's happening this weekend are the cup competitions. So we've got the FFA Cup for the gents, and then we've got the Nike FC Cup for the ladies, which will go on a little bit later on. But there we go. There we have the times as well as the games happening there, Peninsula Strikers. So they are a State League 2 side, Steve. They're coming up against the North Geelong Warriors. Now, the Warriors have played a very young side this year, and they've been very happy to blood some youngsters. Do you reckon, mate, they're going to play a very, very young team, or they're going to go all out with an opportunity now to progress closer and closer to that famous last 32 of the national stage of the Cup?
Look, I'm going to hedge my bets here, Tonch, and say that they'll probably have some senior players will be unavailable for this match over the Easter weekend, and there'll be some that still are available, and they'll just bit of blend of youth and experience, and they'll get over the line there with probably more predominantly youthful-looking lineup against the Peninsula Strikers there at Centenary Park. So long road trip, that one.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now let's moving along to the state leagues. So we'll go first of all to the first one was starting off in State 1 Northwest. Now, Corio have been the absolute surprise packets, haven't they, so far this season? Look at the score that they got there.
Good result there for them against Clifton Hill. They were stiff not to get a better result last week as well in round 1. But great news for Corio Soccer Club fans, especially our man in the comments there, Santino Mamone. He was, I know he was very excited on Saturday when they got their first win of the State 1 campaign at Hume Reserve with Billy Argyros on target with a diving header before Callum Ferguson side-footed home a thrilling 90th minute winner. So well done to everyone there at Hume Reserve.
Yeah, look, a lot of people tipped that Cry would struggle. They have played two sides, Altona City and Clifton Hill. They probably won't figure right up the top there. Nonetheless, your job is to pick up points. Make sure you pick up maximum points at home, and away from home, try and carve out, at least a draw. And they've done exactly that. Look, another team that has done exactly the same. Mind you, they've played both their games away from home, is Geelong Rangers. They drew with the very, very tough Lara United on the weekend, 0-0. And the previous weekend, they'd recorded a 2-1 win. So, look, they're doing exceptionally well. We might go through some of the ladders a little bit later on.
And they can look forward to a home fixture in 2 weeks on the 10th of April against Hume United. So, they'll be in good stead once they get back on home turf, no doubt, as well.
There we go. There's the ladder. So, as we can see, Rangers in 6th position with 4 points. So, doing exceptionally well there. That's for sure. Great start to the season.
Yeah, they're only goal difference off second there. So at the moment, looking good.
Now let's turn our attention to State 4, Steve. Now there's an interesting story about this first game. Bell Park taking on Truganina Hornets, 1-0. The winner was scored by Josh Talib. We've even got a little bit of footage about this. But, mate, after last week's story, what happened? And it looks like we've got a lot of influence there with the Bell Park coaching hierarchy, or so it seems.
Yeah, well, we suggested that Bell Park, maybe they could be on the lookout for a familiar sort of number 9 in their lineup. And this was a match where we saw a familiar number 9. He donned the All Whites number 15 jersey, and you'll see a bit of footage here.
And look at that. Well, there's the team. There's the starting lineup. And look at under Milankovsky and just above Born Jorno Marinovic. Yes, that is the one and only Mio Marinovic. Yep. So Mio Marinovic made a welcome comeback. Now, apparently it is for only one game, and just to help out the gents there. But, gosh, that was now I'm not too sure if he actually provided the assist for that goal or leading up to that goal. But we do have a little bit of footage there, and we're going to show it there. And there's first of all, the Corio game, and this is the opening goal.
Yep.
Great to see the Greens streaming forward into attack. Cross comes over there, and Billy Argyros, look at that. Perfect header. Good
celebration too from Billy.
Yeah. Now, a big thank you to Joey Giacomazzo, who has provided this footage, the match analyst. You might have to get the old ankle grinder and cut out that cut out that thing. But there's the winner, the 90th minute winner. Now, this is the goal from Josh Talib. Look at that. Bell Park. Absolutely.
From the dead ball around the wall.
Fantastic.
Well, he's got a mean left foot, hasn't he, Josh Talib? We've seen that before in his days out at Stead Park.
Yeah, fantastic goal, that one there. Now, this is footage from the Surfside Waves. Alex Ketchen rising up there, number 2. And he headed that ball in against the Lara United. Big result for Lara United. Great win there for Lara United, our team today that's been featured. And we'll touch a little bit on that shortly. But let's go back to State 4. The big Geelong derby up that was played up at Bannockburn, Steve.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of what's the best name for this derby. So if you've got an idea of what this derby should be called, just put it in the comments. I'm actually going to go with the Shire derby because both of these teams are named after the shires that they preside in. Anyway, it was a smashing win in the end for Surf Coast in this fixture, taking home all 3 points against Golden Plains after putting 6 past the Eagles in the first 1 hour of play. Doubles for Milton Bailey and Matt Linney, while Jack Banks and Matt Humphreys also found the back of the net.
Yeah, and there's the ladder there for State 4. So we can see Bell Park are 4th, Surf Coast are 5th. Unfortunately, Golden Plains at the bottom of the ladder. I dare say the Plains will struggle this year, and they will really be fighting hard to stay in this competition. They're almost like the perennial strugglers in Division 4. And 2 years back, they were very lucky. I think that was the year there was no relegation because of some minor restructuring. And that was probably what got them over the line. If it wasn't for that, I tell you what, it would have been pretty darn hard. But yeah, look, that's the situation in State 4. In State 5, now I did have a graphic, and I don't know what I've done with it. My apologies for that.
We've got so many slides floating around there.
You wouldn't believe.
I think our viewers will forgive you if you have misplaced one of them amongst the thousands that you've got sitting in that folder there for tonight, Joe.
But we had Lara United, obviously, as we've seen that, they defeated Surfside Waves 5-2. Barwon managed to defeat Ballarat 2-1 up in Ballarat, which is a great result. And then we had the Deakin Ducks as well. They defeated, I can't remember now.
West Point. I've got the goal scorers there for those ones.
Let's go through that, and we'll go,
mate. Yeah.
Yep. Let's go through those goal scorers.
Yeah, so Deakin Ducks, they continued the year's earlier FFA Cup form into the league fixture against West Point with goals in the 45th and the 90th minutes by Harry Scott and Lucas Target, respectively, ensuring a 2-0 win. That fixture down at Ocean Grove with Lara coming out on top in a 7-goal thriller, a hat-trick for Sam Volpe, did the damage while Julian Costello and James Mayondo.
Wait a minute. Thriller? A 7-goal thriller? The score was 5-2. It was the part of thriller. But I'll tell you what.
I've got to hype it up, mate. And there was a lot of early goals in that fixture for both teams because I think, as you mentioned earlier, showed that headed goal by Alexander Ketchen. He scored a double, and I know one of his possibly two, even the first half, but I know one of his goals was in the first 15 minutes of the game as well. Alexander Ketchen managing a double to ensure there was still something to shout about on the day of their 25th anniversary party. And from what I hear, it was a very big occasion there, live music and all sorts of things going on down there. Not stuff that we're used to seeing in State League 5 from years gone by.
No. A big shout out to their president, Mike Sutton, who has provided us with footage. So a really, really big thank you to all the clubs that are providing us with the footage. And in a sec, I'll explain. I'll give a little bit of it's not a rant. This is not the rant.
Can I just jump in quickly first with the scores from Barwon Soccer Club on their road trip to Ballarat Soccer Club? Oakley Balboni put his body on the line to score Barwon's opener before turning provider to lay off for Cooper McCormack for a neat finish that confirmed the 3 points and a successful road trip there.
Yeah. Now, two points before I move on, Steve. Alex Ketchen, you mentioned him. Now, he scored 2 goals on Saturday. He also scored 1 goal in the seniors last week in the historic first ever game that Surfside Waves participated in at State 5 level. But he also scored 2 in the reserves and then stepped up into the seniors. So he's in red-hot form. He's at the moment scored 5 goals in the opening 2 weeks. Amazing, fantastic. The other thing,
and doing so in the number 2 jersey as well. You don't see that so often, do you?
No. But look at that. This is what I really wanted to say. Have a look at State League 5 West ladder. Team number 1, team number 2, team number 3, all Geelong clubs. Now, that warms the cockles of my heart, I tell you what. Barwon on top with 6 points, followed by Lara United, also 6 points, and then Deakin University on 4 points. Obviously, Barwon have got that. Well, when I say goal difference, actually, Barwon and Lara identical. Maybe they've gone by alphabetical order, B before L. I'm not too sure.
It seems that way. Yeah. How else can you decide at this point in time?
Yeah, exactly. Now, Surfside Waves at the foot of the ladder. Come on, guys. I know you can do it. You're a better club than being 12th there, and I'm sure that they will improve as the season progresses, no doubt about that. Now, the other thing that I was going to say as we bring ourselves back up onto the screen, once again, thank you very much to all those people sending us footage or on their Facebook pages or social media, whatever, and they're doing a great job. Now, where's my phone? If I can actually find my phone, what I've done with my phone. Those people, that's how they're videotaping. Now, what you guys got to do, videotape it that way, all right? Because when you videotape it that way, the footage is, capturing the whole screen. And I know there are people out there that tune into this show week in, week out, and a big shout out to Mario Gregorio, because I've actually seen a snippet of this in action. You know what they do, Steve? They Google Chromecast whatever from the computer or from their phones or whatever, put it up on the big screen. And, when they got a 150-inch screen or something like that and they're watching us, they can see every blemish and pimple and hairy nose and what you're not. That's not the point. The point is they want to see that footage.
No one wants to see that.
No one wants to see it. What they do want to see is that footage that looks like TV-style footage. And we've got some really good footage coming up when we're going to be talking about the Nike FC Cup, mate. So that's next, isn't it? Let's talk about the Nike FC Cup. First of all, the results.
Yeah, a couple of pretty good results there. And as you were saying, really good with Geelong Galaxy's game being live streamed through their Facebook page as well.
Oh, how good was that? Yeah.
And it was excellent. And the goals didn't stop coming either. Because
look at that.
They won 13-0 over Mornington yesterday with Sierra Major with 4 goals. And I hope these numbers are right because I had to do some sports TG deep diving. Imogen Pratt, I believe, with 2. Michaela Steyer with 2, and singles to Josephine Lonsdale, Ashley Pickett, Madison Rakic, and Tara Smith. And also they've posted up some of those goals just individually as little highlights on their Facebook page, and some of them are bangers from well outside the 18-yard box. So
yeah, fantastic. Who needs Emily Sutcliffe? Hey, oh goodness,
she won't be able to get back into the team. Emily,
she might have to get it.
She might have to come
through the reserves. Yeah,
through the reserves. Yeah,
but no,
I'm sure she'll be okay with that.
Oh, I'm sure. But that is a fantastic result. Good result there by Galaxy. So they progressed through to the next round. We had Lara United there at the bottom there. It looks like Lara United lost to, but it's actually Beau Morris, who are a State League 4 side. They lost to Lara United 1-2. So once again, also on Lara's homepage, on their Facebook page, there's some good footage there of the win there, and the girls singing their song as well. Once again, it's taken in portrait mode, in vertical mode. We would have loved it in landscape mode, but I'm sure the clubs will learn. And look, kudos to the clubs because we know, unfortunately, we're not getting much media attention, or the sport's not getting much media attention in this lovely city of ours. And unfortunately, we were meant to have a representative of the Geelong Advertiser a little later on, but I think they've pulled a hamstring in the warm-up and they've had to be substituted. So, not an issue. We've got a very, very good substitute later on in the show in Councillor Kylie GRZYBEK, who's going to be coming on, and she's going to be talking to us a lot about some of the positive things that have been happening as far as council support and funding for some of the sport, for the sport around here. But mate, talk too much about what is going to happen. Let's talk about the here and now. Let's go to the top there. Unfortunately, Geelong Rangers lost to a very tough Ballarat City State League 1 outfit, 2-0 up at, I do believe this was this at Moosehead Park? I'm not too sure. I think it may have been at Moosehead Park, the lovely stadium up there in Ballarat. But North Geelong, they defeated a State League 1 team, Keilor Park, 4-0. Great result there. And, mate, we've got some footage, and we're going to pop some of that footage there, and we'll actually go through some of that.
We'll get that on now. We've got the goal scorers on that one as well, with Louisa Kump, Julia Arkmacic, Marcelo Fierro, and Shelby Aitken, a goal each in this match.
Now, keep an eye on number 23 there, Louisa Kump, an unbelievable player. I'm telling you.
She's in good scoring form.
She's absolutely. It was all North Geelong in the second half, almost a goal there on that occasion. Keilor Park, shout out to the Keilor Park keeper. She did come down to a head injury. Great bit of sportsmanship there. There wasn't an interception. The number 34 there for North Geelong actually passed it back. Now look at this. Kump crosses, pinpoint perfect accuracy. Shelby Aiken looping header, and I think that was goal number 4, if I'm not mistaken. Great crowd, by the way. Now, this is Louisa Kump taking a corner. Watch the power. Watch the accuracy. Guys, I reckon you can take some notice of that. That is absolutely stunning.
Great delivery.
Football.
Yeah. Absolutely
stunning form. Yeah. Ivan Hertzeg, who appeared on the Football Out West show on the Friday, as did the Keilor Park coach, blatant handball there. And it was good to see also all Geelong referees officiating there. Fantastic. some more action. They look like a dangerous side, North Geelong. They really look like a dangerous side. Once again, look at Louisa Cook. Look at that. That was like Alessandro Diamanti. That left foot, lethal left foot. I tell you what, absolutely brilliant stuff there. There's the fixtures coming up. Now, mate, take us through some of the most important ones there.
Yeah, I had a look earlier and I saw that Geelong Galaxy has drawn Old Zavarians in round 3, and I'm just scanning now because I haven't actually caught this slide before the show. As you can see there, the number 9 is Geelong Galaxy and Old Zavarians. And Lara, they've drawn Ballarat, so Ballarat's just knocked out Rangers, so Lara can maybe make some retribution for our region, perhaps, Tonchi.
Yeah, I actually think that is, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if is that Ballarat City. Ballarat City actually taking on Casey Commons, number
City.
6.
So is that the other Ballarat?
The team. This is the other Ballarat. So
that's the other Ballarat. Okay.
We'll find out more information from Ryan Horrocks, who'll be joining us a little later on. He is the coach of the Lara United women's team. He can confirm that, but I think they've got a new side now. What I'm hearing is that Ballarat City are State 1. Ballarat SV are going to be in the new Division 3 Northwest Conference. Yeah. And that is the division that North Geelong will be entering. So they will be entering not at State 5. Supposedly a lot of State 5 and State 4 clubs weren't interested in moving up. But North Geelong, which, as we saw just on the highlights there, defeated a State 1 side. And last week they beat another State 1 side in Hume City. They are now moving up to State League 3 Northwest. So that's great news for the Warriors. Apparently that was just announced in the last 24 hours or so. Galaxy United, Old Zavarians, I think they're a State 2 or State 1. I think they might be State 1 as well. So it could be a reasonably tough game there for Galaxy United. But Lara United away to Ballarat and North Geelong Warriors away to Sky United FC. And I think they may be a State League 1 side as well, if I'm not mistaken. So it's really getting down to the nitty-gritty, the last 32 teams. But it's great, mate, to see 3 Geelong teams amongst those 32.
Yeah, definitely. So, and we'll share those details of those fixtures when they're confirmed as to when they will exactly take place. But I believe as soon as this weekend. Yeah,
I think the go is it's this weekend, but it can be spread out from Holy Thursday all the way through to Easter Monday or so. So obviously no games will be played on the Sunday. Everyone will be too busy sleeping in an extra hour. Remember, daylight savings ends. And on top of that, they'll probably be eating a lot of chockies as well. Now, speaking of chockies, and if you're thinking of eating too much, just a little bit of a shameless plug here. This week, there's a big thing happening on Wednesday night up at the Leisure Time Centre. Man versus Fat Soccer kicks off with an information night. It's at 7 p.m. at the Leisure Time Sports Precinct. To register, go to www.manvfatsoccer.com.au/Geelong. It is not a social soccer league. It's not a competition where it's white line fever is accepted. It is a weight loss program, but soccer is the vehicle, if you like, to help a lot of men, not necessarily older men, can be younger men as well, who might not feel very comfortable getting involved at their club, for example. They want to be, they want to do something about their health. And look, for the last 12 months that we've had so many issues with both mental health and also physical health as well, this is an appropriate time to launch a program like that. And yes, it has been broken. I am the coach. I am the coach, so I'll be heavily involved. So if you don't get enough of me on a Monday night, come down to the Leisure Time Centre on a Wednesday night as well and be involved. Women, ladies, sometimes the blokes in your life are a little bit too shy to do something about their own health. This is an opportunity to give them a friendly, sort of an elbow in the ribs and say, dude, we want you to be around for a long time, not for a short time. So make sure that you do get involved. That's Man versus Fat Soccer. You can, by all means, private message me if you want more details about that. Otherwise, Steve, let's talk about Rangers. Geelong Rangers, who are our featured team in next week's episode.
Yep.
But in the meantime, some big news that happened over the weekend concerning the Rangers.
Yeah, that's right, mate. So we'll go with the younger end of the scale first, and the Rangers under-12 team made it all the way through to the semi-finals at Bendigo at the boys Go FC tournament up there. And sadly, they went down 4-2 on penalties to Eltham, but a fantastic weekend had by all up there, and well done to all the coaches there, Pete and Hayden, and the families who travelled up to Bendigo. And I'm hearing as a special treat, they've earned a free meal at the club rooms on Thursday.
Oh, well done. That's good. Great acknowledgement. Congratulations to the Rangers, and also to Pete Bradley, who also brought that to our attention and brought in a message and mentioned that. Well done to Pete and to the Rangers under-12s. A good bunch of blokes. I know a lot of those kids that have played in the past against my own little boys' side, and really good kids, and it's great to see them doing so well. So kudos to the Rangers under-12s. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, they're not young anymore. And they're probably very, very old, but guess what? They're still pulling on the boots, and that's the Masters team. Look at those handsome devils there on the
some good-looking chaps there. And, so the Geelong Rangers team playing under the guise of the Batesford Hotel, I understand. They had a success on the weekend, a 2-0 win over the Elephant and Castle, who I believe is players based from Corio. 2-1 win in the final of the Masters Summer League, and that's a fantastic initiative that's popped up in the last couple of years as well. And we've had the guys from the Masters Summer League on the show. I think we've even got the T-shirts of those that I like to rep around town sometimes as well. And I hear all celebrated hard afterwards with DJ Ali Davies himself on the decks afterwards, which is always entertaining when that happens.
Goodness me, well done. Good stuff. That was good to see. Really, really good stuff. Mate, geez, I'll tell you what, we've almost gone half an hour of just news. And yet still, that's how much happened. That's how much football happened in Geelong over the weekend. And still, the Geelong Advertiser decides it's better to have a full page of lawn bowls, I think it is, than it is to have any type of football. Really disappointing, but we'll have a rant a little bit later on. But mate, we're going to have a little bit of a break, and when we return, we're going to have our first guest. We're going to look at Lara United, and it's going to be our first guest first cab off the rank. It's going to be the president that we'll be talking to, and that is coming up very, very shortly. Paul GRZYBEK will be joining us. Are you too busy running your own business to worry about your financials? Allow J Hill Bookkeeping to focus on your books so you can focus on your core business. J Hill Bookkeeping's owner, operator and senior bookkeeper Judy Hill has always worked in finance administration. Based in Lara, the world of cloud accounting, however, means that clients can be based anywhere within Australia. Currently, J Hill Bookkeeping services clients from Lara, Geelong, the Bellarine Peninsula and Melbourne. You won't need to come home from working all day and start on paperwork. You can spend your time in other productive areas, such as marketing or quoting, or even better, come home and switch off. Let J Hill Bookkeeping take the stress out of running a small business and allow you to enjoy watching your business go to the next level. For more information, visit our website at www.jhillbooks.com.au, or better yet, call us on 0402 469 243 or email us at info@jhillbooks.com.au. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Football Show. Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Football show.
We're changing names. Yeah, it is football. It is football. But, and that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons. Oh, now it's time for a rant. One of the reasons why we've kept it Geelong Region Soccer Show, one of the reasons why we still refer to it soccer, because in this lovely city of ours, the moment you say football, all people talk about is that AFL, right? That's all that people talk about. Now, there's a message here from Brenton Ray. The first line is said, disgraceful Tonchi Prusak. And I thought, what? You're having a go at me? What's going on? Brenton says, disgraceful, Tonchi Prusak. In my opinion, Geelong advertisers deserve a straight red card without any shadow of a doubt for zero coverage of local football whatsoever. Absolutely garbage form. Now, mate, I couldn't agree with you more. Could not agree with you more. I mean, like, it's just bloody disappointing that it's got to that stage. Look, I don't know. I really don't know what to say at the end of the day. I'm going to put this little snippet. We're going to bring this image up very, very shortly. This is Mario Gregorio, and he's there we go. So I'll actually take the there we go. That's Mario Gregorio's social media posting today. The Geelong and Surf Coast region has a population approaching 300,000, and the local Geelong Addy can't even provide not one single piece of press coverage of the 11 local football soccer clubs who compete in the Victorian NPL and state leagues. Disgraceful from a paper who was once voted best regional paper in Australia. Bring back the legendary sports editor Ryan Reynolds. At the bottom, it's probably cut off, but you can't actually see it. There's a notice that there's a bowls, the local bowls league had their grand final. Now I understand the grand final is big stuff and what you're not and this and that, but seriously, not to even have anything. Oh, I don't know. I've had enough. Anyway, we're going to bring on. It's about Lara United tonight. That's what it should be, and there's some damn positive stuff happening on and off the field, and we're going to find out exactly what is happening at Lara Recreation Reserve, and we're going to bring on the president himself, Paul GRZYBEK, and Paul joins us live from Lara Recreation Reserve. Paul, great to have you on the show. How are you?
Gentlemen, good, thank you. Yourselves?
Oh, I'm a little bit hot and bothered and angry and what you're not. But
I feel like we didn't reach a crescendo on that rant there either. There's a lot more to come still. So I'm not sure it could come out during this interview, Paul. It could be afterwards. So just brace yourself there.
I'm hoping he holds it for Kylie. She can deal with it.
Well, just handball it on. And we've got a little bit of a family affair thing happening here. We've got Paul, yourself here, and then your lovely wife is going to come later on to represent the city of Greater Geelong. She's going to be talking about some positive things that are happening. Let's talk about some positive things happening at Lara Recreation Reserve. Firstly, lights. Let there be light, they said. And guess what? Looks like Lara Recreation Reserve is getting some lights, but also there's some other cosmetic improvements. Tell us what has been happening at Lara's Recreation Reserve over the off-season.
Well, finally, after 20 plus years of our club, playing all over Geelong and training everywhere, we were able to be successful almost 2 years ago in getting a grant from the council.
Yep.
And that will supply us now with excellent lighting, probably to 150 lux for the two grounds, and therefore night games a possibility as well. We've also been able to put in some fencing. It's amazing that everywhere you go, you see fencing at every club around Geelong, and yet something going to our ground like that was so exciting. I've never seen so many people so excited about the lights, because a lot of them have been long-time supporters. And, we still remember the days of playing out of an ATCO hut and temporary toilets and things only a few years ago. And now our club rooms and facilities are just about complete. So in that way, and that's fantastic for our club.
Now, Paul, things are looking pretty good with the girls doing well in the Nike FC Cup, and the boys are going very well in the new State 5 competition with a smashing win 5-2 in the derby on the weekend. So the mood must be going pretty good on the field. How's the mood going off the field at the moment with your committee and your volunteers and your sort of base of army of troops out there after a year off football?
It's been interesting. On field, we're doing quite well. Our senior coach, Johnny Kay and Eric Lawrence, have come back for the second year now, and their message is getting across to the team, and that's coming out on the park now. Ryan Horrocks, in his first season, taken over from his father after many years of learning under him, has taken our girls now and given them a fresh start, and so they've done so well so far. Juniors has been a little bit slow to start in some ways, because I think a lot of parents were hesitant to try and start up at staff with COVID and concerns when things are coming on and off all the time. We have seen a bit of a downturn in our numbers, so we have capped a few teams. And I think at the moment, we've only got one team left, our under-11 girls, that still has some spots available. Everything else, though, now is full in our junior team, so and mini-roos. So pretty excited in the next few weeks to kick things off.
I just caught up with one of the Sunday League boys earlier today. Big shout out to Lockie Shirley. And he was telling me that the numbers had been capped at the Sunday League level. So, geez, when you've got numbers, when you've got blokes just raring to play, that's absolutely fantastic. But getting back to the actual the club and the hard work that's happening off the field. Last Wednesday, there was an interesting fundraiser that the club was involved in, I believe, and it had something to do with taste testing or something like that. And the club was able to get $1,000 or something. Tell us about that. That sounds like a really interesting, novel idea.
Yeah, well, one of our committee members, Michelle Harvey, actually, I think it's been our 3rd season now doing Taste Point. And effectively what we're trialling is some meat. They're testing meat. 3 groups of 20 people will go through and test it, and they'll give a ranking score. And how they use those results, I'm not exactly sure. I'm assuming whether there's different flavours or techniques or meat grains, I'm not sure. But by doing that, the club gets $1,000 for effectively having 60 people turn up and having a small meal.
How good is that?
How did that come about? That's an interesting story. I haven't heard that before.
Michelle Harvey, I'm not sure how she found it, but she's our fundraising legend at the club, and it's her. Look, we were struggling to get numbers for that as well. Actually, only a couple of weeks ago, I think we had 9 committed out of 60, and she just pumped it so hard we couldn't believe it. Actually, we were still in disbelief to pull 60 people. Actually, probably about 65. We had a few subs. In about 10 days, it was amazing, and thankfully now the club gets the win out of that.
Yeah, very good. Did you want to go, Tonj?
Yeah, we've managed to dig it up there. There's Michelle Harvey right in the middle there, and Paul, you're to her right, $1,000. Fantastic effort, great job there by Michelle. She's going to get quite embarrassed by this. I know Michelle personally, and I know she's going to get very embarrassed by this. But it's really worth giving a lot of those unsung heroes at various clubs, and every club has got them. They work so hard. They really try and do what they can for the club. Who are some of the legends at Lara United? And you know, there are quite a fair few that have been involved with the club over the last few years that you sometimes seem to slip under the radar. They don't really like that. They're not names and what you're not on the spotlight, but they deserve those accolades. Tell us. Here's a chance to fluff up their wings, so to speak.
Oh, yes. So we're going to have so now I'm going to probably get a few of these legends now. But look, we've had a number of legends. Like we've got the HORROCKS family. All 4 were involved at some point. 2 of them are life members. Still heavily involved with the women. Judy Hill does considering how much Judy does for the club financially, behind the scenes, everything. She's also does a power of work and gets out of it stressful. Obviously, Kylie is a major influence in the club. She does a lot of effort there as well with her full-time job, looking after 3 blokes at home and also TSC. You got Linda Tagani. She's been around quite a few years now, looked after our mini roos for many years, and this year is our canteen and bar manager. Michelle Harvey, obviously, as we've already mentioned. And I've got 2 of the senior boys, actually, Justin Wilson, and his father was also on it was actually a past president. And Geordie Robertson, whose mother was a past treasurer. So those 2 young men have now come on for the last couple of years. And
how good is that?
So that's fantastic. Second generation coming on, and that's awesome. I love those young faces on the committee. It's awesome.
And they always add that little bit of enthusiasm, and particularly in this day and age where some of those younger blokes are really good with social media or with technology. Sometimes it always pays to get that fresh face, those fresh faces on the committee. Now we've got Lindsay Falzon. Speaking of past involvement with the club, a former coach of Lara United. Now he's said they've been hot and cold for years. I think he's talking about the Geelong Advertiser. But then he says, "Good to see you, Steve Spider Curtin." Spider Curtin. Tell us a bit more about that. How'd you get that nickname?
Oh, I'm a fairly lanky gentleman myself. So Lindsay was coach down at Surf Coast before he was at Lara more recently. So shout out to Lindsay for tuning in tonight. Thanks, mate. Good to see you enjoying the show. That's probably about that. Hot and cold. I'm hoping he's talking about the Addy and not Lara United.
No. Lindsay's been on fire a bit. Actually, he scored a few goals in our pre-season games, and then he got a bit injured. He came on for the last couple of minutes in our reserves game, actually, but he couldn't sway the result their way, unfortunately.
Yeah, Lindsay's at least
good to see he's still going strong there.
Yeah. How old is he? He's still fit. That's great to see. But yeah, no, excellent work.
I think he's forward passport. I think he's in his 60s now, but no.
Yeah. He's never going to retire, Lindsay. I don't think he's going to keep scoring goals as long as he can.
I think he's after Everett Nelson's all-time record of Everett Nelson was still playing at the age of 77. I think it is. Yeah. Another shout out. We've got some great people tuning in tonight. Taz Ioannidis. He's from Melbourne. Taz heads up the Soccer Scene website, and he's been heavily involved in that, and also doing some great stuff in the football media in Melbourne. Taz, big cheerio to you, and I believe your lovely wife has just announced that she's expecting. So good luck to you guys. And how can we not forget Joey G? Not Joey G. Yeah, Joey G's there as well. Santina Mamone. Yep. Oh, look at that. Mario Gregorio jumps on. He says, shout out to Santino Mamone. Big shout out to Mario. We mentioned you and your rant and my rant and what you're not. Paul, let's go talk about serious stuff now. Like, there's been some great stuff that's been happening with Lara United, and in years gone by as well, like with the women's team, probably outperforming the men in terms of rankings, but yet we would really struggle to get publicity in the local media. When we say local media, namely the Geelong Advertiser, because I guess that these days that's probably one of the most prominent papers. It must be, as a supporter of the sport, as a president of a club, it must be pretty frustrating from your end.
It is. It's disappointing that the major paper in our city hasn't got the time to put anything in there for us. So I was actually surmising, I wonder whether there's some sort of a war going on now between AFL and soccer, and the grassroots football is the loser of it.
Yeah,
and meaning soccer, which is not fair. I mean, we want to see some of our kids' faces in the paper. When I was young, and watching the paper and looking at it, we always did on a Saturday or a Sunday midweek. We'd buy it midweek, Wednesdays and stuff. You'd always see kids in there, and I'd see AFL and soccer, cricket. Depending what time of the season it was fantastic. Sometimes you see someone's face in that you knew, but now it's just. I don't know what's going on with them. It's disappointing. They need to support us more because, we're a sport that deserves an equal opportunity like the other sports do, I think.
But on the flip side, Steve, I think, and we talked about this off air, I think one of the good things about this is that now the clubs are sort of basically improving their own social media out of sight. We're starting to get score updates. We're starting to get starting lineups. Most importantly, we're actually starting to get footage, and after Tonchi's little lesson tonight, we're going to get all the clubs doing this, landscape, not portrait, landscape, not portrait. But that's and your own club, Paul. We've seen a lot more people and people around the club getting involved, doing that footage. It's not that hard, is it?
No, it's not. And actually, your show's actually a big help too, because, we've got somewhere to send that footage to now. And that pushes that out there, and so we do push our Facebook, and a lot of others do. We've got Twitter and what else? Instagram, yes. That's why young people should join in the committee. Absolutely. We put as much information as we can, but we need other forums. And this is why it's fantastic you guys are doing this, because it just pushes it out a little bit further, and it makes it a chain. And eventually, enough of our soccer community can see the results if they want to find them. I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, you had something to say?
And Paul, I guess, on that, have you got like a dedicated resource on your committee that's in charge of keeping the social media pages up to date and promoting the club through those channels?
Yeah, Kylie does the most of it. But I know Geordie Robertson, one of our young fellas, he's also helped out a little bit with it as well. So they're probably the main two. Have I forgotten anyone, Kylie? No? All right. I've got Kylie in there, making sure I do everything right. So
she's holding up cards off screen at the moment.
She's holding up a hammer. Don't say anything wrong.
Just remember, Paul, they always say behind every great man there is a great woman. Okay, and don't forget that.
That's true. But I like to reverse it in this family, Tonsi. Behind a great woman, there's a great man.
And that's what it's all about, teamwork. And that's what having a great, vibrant club is all about. having that teamwork. Lara United seem to be doing exceptionally well on the field and off the field. It's great to see major improvements happening off the field. On the field, we're already starting to see some fantastic results with both the senior men's and the senior women's. Mate, we thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show. I think it's a little bit of time. It's about time now we get to know what's happening with the senior women's side at your club. And once again, thank you to Lara United, and also thank you to Judy Hill, who is involved with the club there, the treasurer. She's also the owner of J Hill Bookkeeping, and she's the proud sponsor of tonight's show. So thank you very much, Paul, for joining us tonight.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.
Will do.
Thanks, Paul.
That was Paul GRZYBEK, and he joins us from the Lara Recreation Reserve a little bit later on. He will be joined by his lovely wife, Kylie GRZYBEK. She'll be talking to us on behalf of, I guess, the City of Greater Geelong as a councillor. Stephen, interesting insight into the club. Seems to, and the one thing I love about this show is, when we do have clubs in focus, is we really get to know each club. And some of the people behind there involved in the club. And we've got fantastic clubs in this region. We've got fantastic people within these clubs in these regions. We now need to promote our sport. We need to really show it off. And I think one of the things that we as a community have not done is we haven't sold ourselves well. And now, people are complaining we're not getting the media coverage and this and that. But really, at the end of the day, we've kind of left ourselves open by not supporting the advertiser in the past. And I'm going to be quite brutally honest. We haven't gone out to get the subscriptions. We haven't bought the paper. We haven't. And then guess what happens? We become cheapskates. We want to be able to read it for free on the paper, on the internet and what you're not. But we're not actually supporting it. And it comes back down to business. And look, GFL, GDFL, BFL, which is no bigger than the local football scene, they get over 1,000 hits, impressions on their online articles. And I've been told, with soccer in Geelong, football in Geelong, call it what you want to call it, we struggle to get 100 impressions, 100 hits. And I'm not going to now name the most popular club or the least popular club or whatever the case may be, but we don't support, we don't put our money where our mouth is. And one of the other things is we've got sponsors, big sponsors. And I'm talking about club, Rex Gorell, Bissonella, Trevor Holmes, Elephant and Castle, what you're not. A lot of these sponsors, I'm not talking about Elephant and Castle because they are sponsoring an upcoming episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show, but they advertise in the Geelong Advertiser. They need to use their financial clout, Steve. They need to say, hang on, guys, we're putting money in here. We insist that we have our sport profiled. That's not happening. We need to have more businesses, not just giving a short donation to their club, which is great. We want that to happen. But we want them to be advertising and sponsoring. We here at the Geelong Region Soccer Show struggle. We've got about enough money, enough sponsorship to last 11 or 12 episodes. We're already into episode, 3 of the season so far. Where's that support? Half the time I've been knocking on people's doors and I don't say, we're not interested. Thanks, but no thanks. So big thank you, a massive thank you to Anytime Fitness Geelong, to Galaxy United Soccer Club, J Hill Bookkeeping and Lara United, to Surdeck Steel and Geelong Rangers. They're the sponsors of the first 4 shows, and we've got Breakwater Eagles, we've got Harcourts North Geelong, we've got Elephant and Castle, Home House. I've missed someone for sure coming up. Rendine Constructions and Barn Soccer Club. These are phenomenal people. They deserve their name to be put up in lights. What about the rest of us? We need to be a more vibrant, more stronger, more cohesive football community, which we're not at the moment. And I'm sure people are switching off because they don't want to hear me rant. So let's move on.
I don't know, mate. The comments are on fire, actually. The comments are on fire. So
let's read some of those comments, Steve.
Well, actually, Mario Gregorio's just commented saying that he's spoken to the sports editor there, Alex Oates, at length today, and he's hopeful that the weekly coverage will be forthcoming. However, if articles appear in the paper and don't get the clicks, yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, so fingers crossed something will
Well,
be appearing shortly. That's what
we'll
he
have
says.
to see if they happen in the first place, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's concerning. It's concerning, and the Addy is owned by News Corp, and obviously the News Corp's had very anti-soccer agendas in the past, particularly wheeled out in papers like the Herald Sun and its equivalents in the other major capital cities, and wish they could just put that sort of stuff aside and just give everyone an equal go, and that would be not much to ask for at all.
It's not just the Addy, and credit to Alex Oates. He was willing to come on here. He wasn't able to because of work commitments. Hopefully we'll get him in on the show. And credit to the man. Now, what about the other publications? We've got the Armstrong Creek Times, the Geelong Times, the Star News Group, or whatever it's called. Now, they're pretty good. I'm hearing down on the coast, down on the Bellarine Peninsula, they cover, Surf Coast, or they cover FC Leopold, or they cover, who else is it? Surfside Waves are getting really good coverage down there. And that's great. Yeah. They're covering their local regional teams, if you like. That's fantastic. What about the radio shows? Now, I believe one of the Galaxy players, their husband is on the sports desk of one of the radio stations here in Geelong. I'm not going to mention any names, but you can put two and two together. Where's the coverage in the local radio? You hear the Bay FM and the what's it called, the K-Rock News, and they talk about A-League, great, or they talk about the AFL as they have to, but then they talk about news that's happening outside our region. Aren't you regional radio? Aren't you our region's radio? Why do you not mention something about local clubs? Instead, they regurgitate the same news every half hour. What you're not, and
very centralised news, isn't it?
I think, what we need to do? I think one of the clubs in Geelong needs to change their name to COVID United, and guess what sort of publicity then they're going to get? It's frustrating. I'm really peeved. But anyway, mate, what's your take on this?
Oh, look,
I'm talking too much.
No, I think I've already said my piece just before your last rant. So, yeah.
All right.
I won't add anything more at the moment other than what I've already said.
Let's move on to positive stuff. I don't want to be this grumpy old man. Yes, I feel old. Yes, I feel grumpy. Now I'm younger. I'm taking the glasses off. Let's talk about positive things. And one of those positive things is a first-year coach who's now following in his father's footsteps. And I reckon his dad might be a little bit nervous because this young chap might be overtaking his dad in a couple of achievements. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome to the show, to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, Mr. Ryan HORROCKS. Ryan, hard coming on the back of that rant, isn't it? But we're not having a rant at you. We're just talking about, things that you guys are doing exceptionally well, and it needs to be recognised. So, mate, this is an opportunity to let's recognise all the good things that are happening with the Lara United senior women's team. So tell us what's been happening since you've assumed control.
Thanks, Tonch. Well, it was interesting assuming control. I suppose it was one of the easier transitions possibly in football just anywhere, I guess. Obviously being in the same household for however many years it's been, down at every single state league training session. And it was really, really, really good transition. It's funny you mentioned that the old man might be a little bit nervous. He did send me a message. We got a really favourable draw for our first round game. We ended up winning 14-0.
Yeah.
He picked up a nice little record when they were playing State League 4. They won 20-0 against the Swifts one day. And it took him to about round 10, and he sent me a message a bit away through the game. I think we must have hit double figures at one point. And taking all the expletives out, he said, "Don't you dare break my record on your first go." First ever competitive game. So yeah.
But all jokes aside, Ryan, Tony, your dad is an absolute icon, a legend there at Lara United, and in particular with the women's team. And he's been, when I worked at Football Victoria, and my colleague Foddy Kipren, we used to say, it's absolutely fantastic. Some of the people that are involved in women's football in Geelong. And interestingly, some of the biggest supporters, some of the biggest, the ones that are, and every club's got them. Galaxy has got, Rob Casher there, and then the president, Branko Kostevsky, and North's got Ivan Herzeg and Frank Simovic and a few other guys involved there. Rangers have got Mike Chapman. So it's all these blokes. It's great to see really pushing women's football. At Lara, we've got the HORROCKS, and it must really be fantastic to have a mentor. I mean, not just in your at your club, but in your household as well. That's able to really give you, a little bit of advice, maybe a little bit of motivation to do better than he does. But what's it like having your dad there as that, mentor, and the coach that has done so much before you? Is it motivational?
It's really interesting. I think he feels the pull still. He obviously has a massive connection to this team still. I mean, we've picked up one player from another club this preseason to make our 15. We've got 14 players who have returned from 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So he still obviously has a massive connection with the playing group there, and you can see him down at games. He was one of the first ones onto the field at the full-time whistle on Sunday, high-fiving and celebrating with all the girls. But he's pretty considerate of his place at the moment and wants to step back and just kind of let things happen. He's done it for years. He's had his say and played his piece. But it's massive to have someone at home, and the communication level is phenomenal to be able to just have someone. If you've got an issue, a really novel situation, which you get in women's sport, especially when you play as a junior in the men's sport, and then you see these younger players coming through in women's. It's not what you yourself have experienced, and you touch on all these men that keep driving the sport. We've got former president Aaron Petman. He's my assistant coach for this season as well.
Oh, Az is back. That's good to see.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. I mean, we've got the two of us with
great news.
A good football brain, it's great for the girls as well. But they still test us too. They're definitely still wanting the women's voice in there, and they get all the voice in our group. We pull the strings from the sidelines based on what they tell us to do. At the end of the day, it's their team. We can only take the park if they all turn up. So we reward them, but their being here and their positivity with the ability to make all those decisions and make the right calls for a really healthy, female positive environment.
All right, now I think it's my turn for a question,
Yes.
Tonchi, if that's okay. Ryan, thanks for coming on the show.
You're right, Spider, yeah?
We can go with that. Mate. Why not? It's a blast from the past for me. Now, I'm picturing when you took over that you got handed a manila folder of all the instructions and the training info on the players handed over to you over the kitchen table. Now, I'm sure that's the case. Now, let's go to just yesterday. You had a 2-1 win at Beau Morris with goals from Vivian Lau and Sophie Razmara. Let's tell us a little bit about that game yesterday.
That was interesting. It was a really, really tense game. It was a massive difference from, obviously, the first game, that big 14-0. We went in relatively confident, but it's always hard. There was just those trickier things that happen when you've got to travel that far away. Obviously, that's a Southeast team. They're playing State 2 Southeast this year. They're on the back of a phenomenal season in State 3. They only drew 2 and lost 2 last season. So, I suppose irrelevant of a team's skill level, when you've got that much momentum coming through, it's really difficult to kind of stop. Playing on their home turf at 4:30 in the afternoon, traffic across the West Gate, all that sort of stuff. We had girls rocking up 5 minutes before kickoff just because that's, by the time they got all through the traffic, It was just unfortunate. But we knew we played better football than them, we've stuck to it for the last 2-3 weeks now. We're playing a really, really positive brand of football. And we were really happy with the way we were playing. It was hard though. Once Viv scored, there was about 5 minutes till half time. And I think they must have scored with 1 or 2 minutes before the break as well. So it was kind of defeating. You've played that 40 minutes, you've worked really hard, finally gone 1-0 up, and you're back in the rooms at square one. So that was a really hard lesson for the girls to take, and a really difficult kind of thing to overcome. Sophie scored. Oh, it was fantastic seeing Sophie, actually. We've had one of our girls who used to play out at Surf Coast in her youth, managed to get Sophie across to test herself at state league level. Sophie had come to training in the week and loved the environment, and wanted to register there on the spot. And, just so happened to be the girl that was stuck in traffic, needed replacing on the field, and Sophie took her spot and played out the 90 minutes and scored with 4 to go in regular time. So, this football's a bit funny like that sometimes. The goal certainly didn't come the way we were trying to play football either. It was a bit of a long bomb over the top, but we were, at the end of the day, in the cup, with 4 minutes to go, you're just happy to get the win.
Now, Ryan, the next opponent for the Nike FC Cup, Ballarat SC. So that's not the Ballarat City that defeated Rangers, is that right? This is a State 3 team. Any details as far as, I know the draw was only done today, but do we know anything about when that game is likely to be played?
No, I suppose that's a really tricky thing with the Easter weekend.
Yeah.
It would be really nice to probably just have this weekend off with the State League men as well. There's nothing fixtured in for next weekend, at FV, so I assume they're okay with pushing it back a bit later. We'll see. I guess we'll hear something tomorrow morning from Ballarat, and hopefully we can come to a pretty reasonable consensus. I don't think there's going to be an opportunity where both teams will have full strength, but hopefully everyone just puts their common sense goodwill hats on, and we can get a reasonable fixture time for an away game.
Absolutely. Steve?
Yeah, fingers crossed. Now tell us about the setup at training. We spoke earlier to your president about all those upgrades, lights, fencing, all that sort of stuff. How much of a game changer is that for you and the girls come training nights during the week?
It's massive. I mean, we've only just been beaten by daylight saving in terms of getting the lights switched on. So we'll do a few weeks somewhere else around the northern suburbs in Corio. But yeah, it's huge. It's just having a fence to catch your ball after your shot. It's mind-boggling how much it can just change your energy and your attitude as a player. So it's unbelievable to just see, what others would consider a really basic facility, just change the whole energy of an entire club so quickly.
Now, is it true that Aaron Petman in the past hasn't wanted to put a fence up just so that we can improve the accuracy of some of the Lara United strikers? I'm only kidding. I'm only joking.
He treated it as a fitness session for the youth, so they would have to go
Yeah. I think kick and follow was the memorandum at training, I remember back in the day. Yeah.
In days, he said, I'm pretty sure the under 12s, they played at about 10 a.m. and then get down to the Resi's game so you can go chase balls and keep running for another 2 hours. That was it. Yeah.
Very good fitness. Now, mate, you've got some fans, Brenton Ray, who is a Lara native, I believe. He lives in Lara, but he is
these days. Yes,
he's a Hoppers Crossing man. But he says, "Welcome to the show, Ryan. Keep up the awesome work as senior women's coach at Lara United." But wait for this. There's another little bit of a contribution there, and it is Tony Paul HORROCKS. I'm biased, but Ryan has already shown the makings of a fantastic senior coach. Well done, Dad.
Very humble.
Very humble indeed. But, mate, wishing you all the best this year. State 2, really hard to say what the standard's going to be like compared to, I guess, pre-COVID days. But initially, have you had sort of a chance to kind of do some detective work and see what some of the other clubs in that particular division are like? Are we likely to see a tougher division, an easier division, sort of standard-wise? Do we know much about State 2?
I wish I knew. About half the comp entered the Night Cup, not as many as I thought would, and about half of them already have been knocked out. So it was a bit of a shock. I know some of the teams that got relegated really struggled in 2019, and some of the teams that have been promoted, I know Spring Hills, that's their third team actually, because they've got State 1 seniors and reserves. So in State 2, that'll be their third. So it's kind of really hard to get a gauge on where everyone's going to be at. We've been really focused on us anyway. And we don't put any expectations on, like I said before, it's all about the girls and what their contribution is and what their feeling is. And for them, it's not about where you finish on the table or anything like that, or what the score line is week to week. So we'll work on some things that we think need tweaking week on week. And we'll just try and play some really good football, host some really good functions in our nice club rooms, get the community feel up and all that sort of stuff. And just keep it positive, because you know how difficult it is. Every women's coach right now knows how difficult it is to get numbers. It's just crazy to think that we'll go from knocking on the door of 3 divisions in Geelong to God knows what it's going to look like this year, with our State League girls as well. I know the other 2 clubs have really struggled for a keeper. We were a bit blessed. And just filling all in those other positions. Galaxy seriously struggling for reserves. It's a real big shame to see. And I'm empathising with all of them. Probably sympathising. We've been in the same boat. We've got one team now, so we're a bit lucky. That's all we've got to kind of focus on. But yeah, that's all it's going to be. It's just that positivity. Let them make the calls and not worry about the scoreboard and the ladder by extension.
Mate, it's been a pleasure having you on the Geelong Region Soccer Show, getting a little bit of an insight into a first-year senior coach, because I guess you've coached in the past and you've coached the seconds teams, but great to see things doing so well on and off the field there. Wishing you and the girls there at, the ladies there at the senior women's team at Lara United all the very, very best for season 2021.
Thanks, Hunch. Thanks, Steve. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
That was Ryan Horrocks, the senior coach of the Lara women's team, doing some great work there. And the keeper, actually, Stephanie Anderson, is the sister of none other than Michael Anderson, who plays his football there at North Geelong and has been for years and years, a well-known footballing family. And Nick, the brother, has played out at FC Leopold for several years as well. So some great stuff happening there in the Anderson family, as is in the Horrocks family. So good to see there. Mate, we're going to take a very, very quick break. I'm excited about our next guest. It's Councillor Kylie GRZYBEK, who's got a lot to talk about, some of the really positive stuff that is happening, particularly in the northern suburbs of Geelong with regards to football. Don't go away, folks. Are you too busy running your own business to worry about your financials? Allow J Hill Bookkeeping to focus on your books so you can focus on your core business. J Hill Bookkeeping's owner, operator and senior bookkeeper Judy Hill has always worked in finance administration. Based in Lara, the world of cloud accounting, however, means that clients can be based anywhere within Australia. Currently, J Hill Bookkeeping services clients from Lara, Geelong, the Bellarine Peninsula and Melbourne. You won't need to come home from working all day and start on paperwork. You can spend your time in other productive areas, such as marketing or quoting, or even better, come home and switch off. Let J Hill Bookkeeping take the stress out of running a small business and allow you to enjoy watching your business go to the next level. For more information, visit our website at www.jhillbooks.com.au, or better yet, call us on 0402 469 243 or email us at info@jhillbooks.com.au. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's nearly full time, Steve. Almost time. We've been going now for about 75 minutes, to be honest.
Mate, time for a substitution. I might have to go onto the bench for a while, mate.
Yeah. Guess what? Before we do that, before we even think about that, we've got our next guest coming right up, and it is an absolute pleasure to welcome to the show, and at such late notice. So we really thank her very much. It's we've got it says, I guess, Paul GRZYBEK. It's not Paul GRZYBEK. It's Councillor Kylie GRZYBEK. Kylie, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been a Lara affair, and I'm pretty proud of him, actually.
Yeah. Now let's first of all start with that I guess the social media. Let's say it was the social media post that really got things started. It was last week or the week before or wherever it was, a post that you made about just the lack of coverage in the Geelong Advertiser. Now, it's been causing waves, and obviously people at the Geelong Advertiser are hearing about it. But what's your take on the whole lack of coverage in the main local publication, if you like?
I think it's disappointing from a Geelong soccer perspective. I know that Wyndham Star Weekly cover the state league games from the Wyndham team, and we've got the same. We've got NPLs, we've got state league women, state league men. We've got locals and juniors and Nike Cups and FFA Cups all happening without a word in our local paper, and I'm just not sure that people are really understanding how good the sport is, and I wonder if it actually means that we're not recruiting as many people as we need. And as Paul said before, this show is one of those examples where you can make a really big effort that you two make in soccer and really show the world what we've got down here in Geelong. We're pretty lucky that we've got the opportunity to have high level football. We just need some help.
Kylie, do you think that's the way to go? Like you mentioned with Wyndham, is it forcing our content into like those local papers like the Leader and the Star equivalents down here that we've got, such as the Independent and others down the coast? Is that the way to go if the Addy is going to just come out and sort of boycott our game?
I think it is the way to go, but the problem with that is that Independent is probably the only paper that comes to the northern parts of Geelong.
Yeah.
We don't have a local Leader paper. We don't have a weekly Star or whatever they're called. So we rely on that paper as one of the main sources of everyday news. But I think things are changing, and you guys would know, you'd be at the forefront of that. This type of thing is really important, and maybe it's the way we read that news. Should get that on socials more often. And I think, Tonji, your call out about making your teams more accessible on Facebook and Instagram has probably worked for our club. We've started to do a bit more. It is more onerous on the clubs, but it shows that you're getting your content out there. And I think we shouldn't probably just rely on the Addy, but I am a bit annoyed. There are some amazing stories, hundreds of stories that we could be telling about local football, but we're not. And the lawn bowls winning over one of the most games that is growing the most in the country, to me is unfortunate.
On the screen there, we've got a page from the I think it may be the Geelong Times. I mean, the Times group. There's about 7 or 8 different newspapers now. All right, this is That Bad Sport, but this is what That Bad Sport's actually done. SEN Sport have actually taken out an advert and basically sponsored the whole page. Now, I'm calling out to the big businesses in this region. The Bizanella Developments, Trevor Holmes, Rex Garrell. What about clubs Volare Concepts, who are involved down at North Geelong? These are the big businesses that have got a bit of clout. How about some of them maybe even sponsor a page, whether it be in the Addy or somewhere else, and to at least guarantee that we're going to get that coverage. Now, it's not the Tonchi Prusak show. I've been involved with the Geelong Advertiser for the last 4 years, and I've actually told the Advertiser this year I'm not going to write for him. So they're on the lookout for someone. They're looking up for a scribe, and they'll pay him something very minimal, but they're willing to do that. Look, I don't care, but to me, it's not. Someone said, "Oh, did the Geelong Advertiser give you the sack?" Well, I don't feel they gave me the sack because I actually told them that I'm not going to be involved. I actually feel that they've given the sport the sack. Now, that's the sad thing. We've got, as you said, Kylie, so many great stories, so many fantastic stories that every club, and I think I was saying this to you off air today, every club has got 5-6 different stories, human interest stories, great, whatever, soccer related or just social related. And none of those stories are being told. And it's up to now the clubs to at least start telling those stories on their social media.
But why should we, Tonchi? Why should we be asking people to sponsor pages to get our results in there? Why should the sport not get the coverage the same way that local cricket, local AFL, local lawn bowls, all the sorts of sports are getting that coverage without paying the sponsorships? We should be sponsors should be putting the money into the clubs, and we should be getting that coverage. That to me, that's a no-brainer.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Although, like you've got the Blood Toyotas and what you're not that do sponsor the Geelong, the GFL and what you're not. Buckley's, for example, and I could guarantee that they have they give the sports editor or the person further up a tap on the shoulder and said, "We're giving you money, so now we want something in return." And a lot of these businesses already are advertising in the Advertiser. Start to show some muscle. Start to show really that we are a strong, vibrant community, and not a little insignificant, insignificant, non-cohesive community, because we are. And that's what gets me. That's what really gets me. Avalon Airport, there's another one. Thank you, Santino. Avalon Airport as well, involved with Corai Soccer Club and the Gordon.
Yeah, well, I think, Tonchi, like you're saying, if any of our club sponsors out there are advertising in the local rag, if they're going to not print soccer in there, they should say, well, we're going to withdraw our sponsorship ads in your paper, and that's that, and that's final until you change your ways.
Yeah, and most of our clubs are supported by real estate agents, right? So nearly every club has got a real estate agent that most likely advertises as well. So there's some opportunity there. I agree with you, but I think that council uses that advertising space in the Addy every week. So maybe we can leverage something there. But I just think why shouldn't it just be a staple of any other sport?
Yeah. Oh, look, completely agree with you, Kylie.
100%.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about some positive things. Now, earlier today, I was involved in some publicity for Man versus Fat Soccer, which is a great program. And guess what? It's a Victoria first. It's City of Greater Geelong has kudos to COG there. They've decided to invest in this program and to start this program right here in Geelong. So there's an information night there at the Leisure Time Centre. But let's talk about the infrastructure, some of the infrastructure improvements, and in the northern suburbs in the Windermere Ward. Here's an opportunity to tell us what's been done over the last couple of years.
I think if you looked at nearly every club across Geelong, not just in the northern suburbs, but, the ones that I know in the northern suburbs, council has invested, into Geelong Soccer Club, Corio, North Geelong. We changed the rules around private property so that we could support clubs like North Geelong and Bell Park. You've got Corio Bay, you've got Rangers. Every one of those clubs has either had a grant from the city or some infrastructure put in over the past 3 or 4 years. And I know my fellow councillors are all very supportive of the investments, and especially my fellow councillor Eddie Contell and I are really looking at. We've got that plan now going forward to get ready to do the regional soccer stadium stuff. So we are hopefully going to be able to look at something like that in the next couple of years around trying to get. There's a few elections coming up. Let's try and get some real promises around that regional stadium. You can see NPLs. You can see. Mini-roos being there. And that's a photo of Lisa Brooks out at Rangers getting some lighting upgrades. Amazing opportunities that we've got with the council funding program. And I think that's one of the legacy items that I'd be really proud of as a councillor that we implemented to make sure that the community can really tell us what their major projects are.
Now, often sorry to cut you off, Steve. I was just going to say about that Rangers grant there. A lot of people say, oh, yeah, but this club gets money and they're jealous of this club. But every time a club gets money, it's not just that club that benefits because people travel to that club, away teams, for example. But look at Rangers, the I think it was the Victorian Police Games or something like that. The State Police Games were held there the other week. We're going to have the country championships up there. The kids in the off season were able to play up at Rangers for the Go Sevens tournament, which is going to become, from what I'm hearing, an annual event. So every club, the whole community benefits from these upgrades, don't they?
That's right. And that's what we try to do. We really try to look at it on a needs basis, and we're making sure, we've got a regional G21 regional soccer strategy. We're upgrading that. We're making sure that clubs are not getting missed, and it's us councillors and officers are really making sure that, for example, Corio, Mario out at Corio has been really patient, but I'm really pleased that we're starting to really invest some out there as well. I think whilst you do see investment into different rounds around the grounds, but we're trying to really get to those clubs that may not have the ability to write grants. We've got grant writing assistance with the city. We've got real opportunities where you can get in contact with us and we can get you the help that you need to write grants to get these types of facilities if you need them, from player boxes to lights to pitches to drainage, all of those sorts of things that we can help with.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's been really good to see the upgrades coming along and getting those clubs up to speed. Like, it's fascinating how clubs like Lara have been able to operate without floodlights for training, for instance. I don't know how I honestly don't know how they've coped with that over the years. With that regional facility plan, we saw in the last council minutes that of the meeting that took place most recently, the stage 4 development of Kenya Park was in there in that particular agenda. Is the regional facility something that we could seriously see happening, maybe getting started possibly somehow before that stage 4 development happens at Kenya Park?
Yeah, I mean that's sort of, I look at those two things as separate, but I prefer to watch soccer at a square, a rectangle pitch. I shouldn't say square, rectangle pitch. I prefer to be up close the way you do when you're, sitting at, Amy Park, for example, when you're sitting there on the sidelines, you can sit on the middle. So I would prefer to watch it in a square pitch, and I know that A-League teams like Western United, like Melbourne Victory, would be able to bring that to Geelong if we had this facility. Playing at Caninian Park's all very well and good, but it just doesn't feel like the atmosphere that you need at a soccer game. I think the opportunity for us is, how can we get this built quickly so we can really start to take this sport to the next level in Geelong? We've got regional centres like Ballarat and Bendigo and all of those places that have got this type of facility. I'm wondering why we haven't had this in Geelong.
Yeah. It's interesting as well. You look at, I always look at, the social pages and of the big name players like, say, Alessandro Diamanti and his Instagram stories around the Melbourne Botanic Gardens. And I always think, imagine the opportunity if we could have had that happening here in Geelong and he was living at the Edgewater Apartments or something and his Instagrams were going around the world of Geelong waterfront every day, and how cool that would be for publicity for Geelong. Do you sometimes think, oh, damn, we wish we could have somehow, got Western United down living, training down here and a stadium in maybe instead of Wyndham getting that?
Yeah, but I think all kudos to Wyndham though. They saw that and they jumped on it and they made it reality. I'd always say if Steve Hallbart couldn't bring an A-League team to Geelong, I'm not sure who can. But I think what the opportunity now is that we can build on that, and then Western United are going to have a dedicated facility only half an hour up the road. But what we need to make sure is that Geelong doesn't miss out. We need to have this ready to go for future opportunities. People like Geelong and North Geelong want to play NPL. Imagine the derby being played between those two clubs at this regional stadium. I mean, you would get 5,000 people there.
Easy, without a doubt. Now, I guess the country championships coming up is a real litmus test. It's a major event. It's something that's going to bring a lot of tourism dollars to the region, and obviously a lot of kids, talented kids that are going to be playing. Now, it's great that we've got the Stead Park that has now been done up, and it's got 4 fields. I mean, that's the biggest, I guess, facility we've got at the moment. Rangers is looking really good. There's potential there for a 4th pitch, either up on the top football field or during the actual tournament on the main pitch. If this goes well, could we really hope to see some more major events, at least as far as junior carnivals and things like that, happening in the Geelong region, with or without obviously a big regional facility like what we hope for?
I mean, my eventual, hope is that we get that regional sort of stadium, the main sort of piece with the seats, but that has to be supported by, I'd say 10 or so pitches sitting around it. So tournaments like the country champs, tournaments like, pre-season derbies between whoever and whoever, I think that's really important. We've got mini-roos hubs. Hopefully after we get in a COVID-safe world, we can get those 1,000 kids together in a northern and southern hub and have one big, I mean, wouldn't it be fantastic to get all of those people back together? This is what I see for the regional stadium. We're doing the business case right now, and that's number one on my priority at the moment is to get that business case up, ready in time, state and federal elections, but also too to show the community, the soccer community in Geelong that they mean something. This is really important.
Absolutely.
Chance is just the start, and call out to Lisa Brooks. What an amazing job she's doing, running that country champs.
Yeah. I mean, she's an incredible woman. The head of the organising committee of the country championships, oversaw a very, very successful Go Sevens summer tournament there when we're just coming out of COVID. So we were so lucky that the kids were able to have, somewhat of a league campaign there. Heavily been involved behind the scenes, and now she's the president of the Rangers. So hopefully we'll get Lisa on next week. But Kylie, what do the clubs, what does the football community need to do? What's one last message out to the football community of Geelong?
Look, the football community, in terms of council, you have councillors in your area. If you are within the city of Greater Geelong, you've got councillors that can help guide you through that process. We've got council officers ready to go to give you that advice. I think it's really important that you engage with the council about what facilities you have, what facilities you need, and just get on the list. And as Mario has said in the comments there, clubs do need to be a little bit patient. We haven't got a finite amount of resources, but once you start working with them, I think it's really important that you tell them exactly what you think you might need. They do a bit of a study, and it takes time. But once you start to see things coming to fruition, it's really exciting. I mean, the lights out at Lara, I mean, I've been out there with torches and car lights many a time. So I think it's just exciting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Steve, have you got any last words or questions for our guests?
Oh, well, I'll go on with that last comment there. How is life going in the Soccer Mum fraternity at the moment?
It's busy. It is so busy. And look, Judy Hill, the sponsor of this show, not only is she the treasurer, she's the registrar. She's running, with a few helpers from the committee, running the kit. She's got a son who plays under 15s, who's a referee. He's also just been accepted into the country champs, and I'm really proud to say that my boy is also in the under 15, just been accepted into country champs. This is why we do it. This is why we put our 100% effort in, because it's the kids or your family. I mean, my cousin, the HORROCKS family, like, you cannot underestimate the investment that they have made into soccer, and it must somehow run in the family. I don't know, but I think we need to really make sure that we support those family units, those communities that are really putting in. We've got some amazing people in soccer in general in Geelong, and if we put our heads together collectively, I know that we can achieve anything.
Absolutely, and these are the stories that need to be told, and they will. Kylie, on that note, thank you very much for joining us. Wishing you all the very, very best, and not just for Lara United, but the soccer community, but also in your various portfolios. You do a wonderful job with the City of Greater Geelong.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And Spider, thank you.
Thanks, Kylie. Till next time.
Till next time. That was Councillor Kylie GRZYBEK joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Mate, what a great show it has been tonight. We've thank you, first of all, to everyone that's the comment section. They have been going nuts with the comments, and as we've read out a few of those, we can't read out all of them, but a really, really big thank you to everyone for being an active part of tonight's show. To all of our guests, especially to our wonderful sponsor for tonight, J Hill Bookkeeping. Massive, massive thank you to you. Big shout out to Jason Van Beek, Sir Deck Steel, who is sponsoring next week's episode, a special. Hopefully it'll be a special Easter Monday show. Everyone will be home, or they'll be relaxed. They won't be worried about too much about work. They'll be able to tune in. And the following week, Rangers have their first home game of the season, so it's the perfect time for that. Steve, what are you getting up to over the Easter break?
Going up to Central Victoria, getting on my bike. What else? I've got to call a game on Wednesday night before then too. We've got Altona and Green Gully on the NPL Victoria streams this Wednesday night at 7:30. So you
Western
can join
Suburbs Derby.
Yeah, good Western Suburbs Derby. So you can join myself and Katie Lambeski for the call of that one. It should be a good game. Looking forward to it.
Speaking of derbies,
what about yourself, mate?
Well, I'm going to have a very quiet one, a relatively quiet one. I think there'll be a lot of relaxing, a lot of I guess getting ready for the season ahead. But I'm sure there's always going to be something happening. But I'm looking forward to just having a couple of days, just catching up with family, doing the really boring sort of things. But yeah, this time last year we were in lockdown, weren't we? So we're really going to be enjoying the things. But me and the kids and the wife will probably be out Easter Saturday night, raiding a few front yards and throwing a couple of Easter eggs here. So if you've got some Easter eggs in your front yard, it's probably because of the Prusak family. But
Tonchi Bunny.
Yeah. Now, before we do go, I do have to say, join up, become a member of this show. This is it. We talk about, how you can support. Look, we're asking businesses to support, but now it's also an opportunity for you, the individual, to support. A big shout out to the 5 members that we've got. We've only got 5 members. To Joe Pino, Vladimir Zetovic. We've got Stuart Mallon. We've got Dale Harris, and Colin Drain. Guys, we need to have 10 members at least. So show your support. Become a member of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's there on the website is there on the screen. www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. What you do get is a daily Geelong football news bulletin. So every day you're going to get a news article, an original news article that no one else gets, just the members and advertisers. So if you're an advertiser, you also get put on that database. And guess what? You know what? That's a start. at least those people will get daily original stories about the football community here in Geelong. And that's not only that, but that you'll be also helping a show. So please, guys, really, really need your support. If this program is going to continue all season, we've got enough sponsorship bickies for about 12 episodes. We're into episode 3. That means another 9 episodes. We'd love to see your club mentioned and factored and for chance for us to celebrate your club. Steve, on that note, happy Easter to you, mate. And the next few days, weeks, we may not have you next week. You'll be away on holiday or something like that, or we're still hoping we can get you.
I think public holidays, I'm got a different rate that I charge from public holidays, so I might be too expensive. But no, wishing you a very happy Easter, mate, and to everyone who's tuned in tonight, massive thank you to everyone who's sponsored us as well. Even bigger thank you, and wish you all a happy Easter.
All the very best, folks. And we're going to leave you with the Man versus Fat Soccer, or Man versus Fat Soccer Geelong League. It is a weight loss program, an innovative new weight loss program. It's a first for Victoria. It's happening right here in Geelong. The information night is on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Leisure Time Sports Precinct, Aniki Road in Norlane West. To register, go to www.manvfatSoccer.com.au/Geelong. You can private message me if you want more details. Or you can also send me an email at communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. That's communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night to you all, and we'll see you next week for a special Easter Monday edition of the Geelong Region Soccer Show.